we ready? Let's go. Hey guys, welcome back to the Sullivan family. So tonight we're doing something a wee bit different. The kiddies have gone to bed for number one, and we decided we'd start doing some kind of...
Not all of the kids.
Not all of the kids. Just the little ones.
Just the little ones.
Just the little ones. So we decided to start doing some slightly different videos on top of our normal updates that we do every week, you know. Keeping up with our family and what we're about. So tonight, the video title is 10 Fun Facts About the Sullivan Family. Okay, fact number one. We have lived in 9 different houses. Yes, we have. So our first house, Zoe, where do we live?
I'm going to have to do this because you won't remember. So since we've been together, we lived in my flat.
Yep.
First, when we first got together, I had a nice little flat. We lived in that, and then we moved to, and we had, oh, hang on. No,
Trehane.
Before, no. Oh no, that's 10 different houses. Oh no, I've got it wrong. It's 10.
Is it 10 different houses? Have we lived in 10 houses?
Totally forgot about Trehane Road.
Oh my God.
So we had my flat,
yep.
And then we moved, because it was only for a very short time because we had a few problems there. We moved to a house when I was pregnant with Elizabeth.
Yep.
And it was a really nice little house, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
We had really bad neighbours. That's another story. And then we moved to another house in Camborne.
Yep.
Where Elizabeth was. We had Elizabeth when we were there.
Yeah, we
did. In the house, but which she was born when we lived there. And then we moved. We got married.
Yep. And
we moved to our first married quarter.
We did.
So that's 1, 2, 3. 4.
Our first married quarter, by the way, was in Newquay.
It was in Newquay.
So we moved from Camborne in Cornwall to Newquay.
It was in some,
you got married we got married in the last house as well, don't forget.
Yeah, I just said that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Well, did I just miss that?
I said we've got married quarter because we got married.
Oh, yeah.
That's why we got married quarter.
Okay.
I've already told him off for not listening to what I say. Anyway, so that was number 4. We moved to Newquay.
Yep.
Well, was it? Treloggan. We loved it there. It was lovely. That's where Olivia was born.
Yep.
And we lived in Treloggan. And then we got posted to
RF
Valley. So
in Anglesey.
We lived in North Wales. But when we first got there, they gave us a house. I mean, it was a nice house, and it was in a lovely setting, but it wasn't at all
suitable
for we had 2. So Elizabeth wasn't quite 3, and Olivia was 3 weeks when we moved.
Yep.
3 weeks old. So we were put somewhere that was kind of for...
It was a place called Indefatigable, and Indefatigable is a tri-service training camp that used to be Nelson's house, Admiral Nelson's house. So there's only about 10 married quarters there.
It's a beautiful place.
It's actually in the town with the longest name in the country, which is that...
Clanfie.
I'm not even going to say it's Clanfie BG, which is Gogong. I think it's the place name that ends with Gogong Gong. But there were only 10 married quarters there, and unfortunately, there's only one other married quarter with a family in it. So it's quite lonely for a bit, isn't it?
Not long after
That's
we
right, yeah.
lived there. So it was really isolating, and it had a really, because it was like a stately home, so it had a really long driveway, didn't it? So you couldn't just walk off very easily.
No.
Couldn't just pop into the village. It was really, you had to drive anywhere. And I think we only had the one car at the time, didn't we?
That's right.
So if you were at work, I couldn't get anywhere.
No.
And obviously we just had, Olivia was 3 weeks old. Elizabeth wasn't quite 3, so it was really, really isolating. So we fought and fought and fought for a house up on the camp where everybody else was housed.
Yeah.
And
we got it in the end, didn't we?
We got there after 6 months, and it was brilliant. You know, it was brilliant. We had a really fab group of people live there. It was
hi Michelle, if you're watching.
It was beautiful, but we met loads of people up there. We had some great friends,
some fantastic people up there.
We just weren't there very long. In the end, we were only there for about another year.
Well, truth be told, search and rescue. I was working on search and rescue at Valley, and search and rescue was becoming civilianised. So it was inevitable that we had to move in the end because all civilian contractors took over our jobs. So we then moved to
RF Benson.
Yep.
In Oxfordshire, where bearing in mind when we were at Valley, so in our second house at Valley, which we really liked, and it was lovely. We had the twins when we lived there, and we actually moved to Benson when the twins were 9 weeks old, I think.
Yeah.
Sure, they were 9 weeks old. Something here about moving with very small children. So we moved from North Wales, all the way down to Oxfordshire,
Yep.
with 2 under 5s and newborn twins. So
Yeah.
that was fun.
That was quite a move.
Um,
So we're now in Oxfordshire, aren't
so
we?
we
So
got
we're
a
now
house
RAF Benson.
on camp in Oxfordshire.
Yeah.
In Benson, and we lived there. We lived there for quite a few years actually.
Yeah, we did.
But then we moved to Cornwall for a while because I found it really difficult being at Benson, and there's lots of things happened.
Well, also don't forget, we wanted to trial moving back to Cornwall because we were thinking of settling back down there after my time in the RAF.
There's various other reasons as well.
And other
wasn't
reasons,
there?
amongst other reasons, wasn't there?
There's various other reasons for moving back down. I think I was really homesick at the time, and anyway, lots of reasons. So we moved back down to Cornwall.
Yep.
I
commuted to Benson, which was a 4.5-hour drive.
Which didn't work.
Nah.
Didn't work.
It was one of those things we had to get it out of our system. We had to try it.
It's too much.
We moved back to Camborne. I'm not.
No,
in no way. I'm not slating Camborne, but when you've moved away from a place and you've tried different areas, it's never quite the same. So I think we'd already left Cornwall, so moving back was weird, wasn't it? It didn't quite work for us.
So we moved back to Benson, but this time we lived in an excess rent in the village in Wallingford,
which is a lovely house, wasn't it?
Not in Wallingford, in Benson.
Benson
we lived
Village.
in Benson Village,
near Wallingford.
Near Wallingford, which was lovely. And then we got posted to.
Basically, they were looking for volunteers for Lossiemouth, right? And if you don't know where Benson is, it's as inland as you can possibly get in the UK.
We missed the sea.
So it was 2.5 hours drive just to go to Bournemouth or anywhere like that. So we were getting fed up with it, especially after about 7 years of living away from the beach. So Lossiemouth came up and we decided to take a punt on it, didn't we?
We did.
We just decided, you know what? Let's go give Lossiemouth a go. Let's see what it's like. And we moved up.
Yep. And we've been here ever since.
And we have. And I'll tell you something, we're not moving. Our next move will be our final move, I think, and that'll be staying in Lossiemouth. So thumbs up to Lossiemouth. Okay, fun fact number 2. We have 2 sets of twins, one identical set, one non-identical set, born on the same day. Zoe.
So Charlotte and Isabel are non-identical, and they were born on the 25th of January 2008. And then fast forward past a few more children, and we had Leah and Erin, who are identical twins. They were due to be born in April.
Yep.
But due to various complications, they had to be born via C-section, emergency C-section, at 30 weeks. And the day that it happened to be the other twins' 8th birthday.
Yep.
So they were born, so the second set of twins, Leah and Erin, were born on the 25th of January 2016. So now we have 4 birthdays all on the same day, purely by chance.
Straight after Christmas. So we save up for Christmas, and then we save up for the most expensive day of the year, which is probably their birthday.
Like another Christmas.
Their birthday. It's like another Christmas day.
So they were born on the same day, 8 years apart.
Fun fact number 3. Toby was born in 45 minutes, and he was born on the side of a road.
Not literally on the side of the road. So I remember going into labour with Toby, and I'm sure it was like middle of the night.
They
and
normally
I remember
are.
waking up thinking, oh, I've got a bit of a pain. I'll make a cup of tea. And I remember you saying you are
leave him in
not
bed.
going to make a cup of tea. You are going to get to, I think we were going to have him at Wallingford.
Yeah.
Or was he going to have to be because he was number 7? There was a bit of we had a really lovely birthing centre in Wallingford where Eva and Noah were both born, and it was just lovely, and it was literally just down the road. But because Toby was number 7, there was a bit of a kind of not sure whether he was going to be born in. He'd have to go to the hospital in John Radcliffe, which was in Oxford, or whether he could be born there. Anyway, fast forward. So I had the first kind of twinge. Thought I'd make myself a cup of tea, all of that. Ben was like, no, you're not making yourself a cup of tea. Within 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I remember being like in extreme pain, to the point where Ben had to phone an ambulance. Ambulance got there. They said, don't know if we're going to make it to the hospital. Yep. I knew we weren't going to make it to the hospital. So he ended up being born on the way to John Radcliffe Hospital. And it actually said on his, I've bought his birth certificate out, actually says, born 5th of February 2013, Windmill Road, Headington, on the way to the John Radcliffe Hospital, Headley Way, Oxford. So he was actually born. They had to stop the ambulance twice, because the first time I thought he's going to be born right now.
Yeah. So
they stopped the ambulance, and then I was like, no, it's fine, you carry on. Ben wasn't there, he was at home. And then, yes, and I think, if I remember rightly, the paramedic in the back, she was lovely with me. She was a trainee. So, yeah, that was her first baby delivered, literally.
A baptism of fire. Fun fact number 4. Okay, so we were both born and raised in Camborne in Cornwall, and we first met each other when we were teens.
Yes.
Didn't we, Zoe?
Both grew up in the same place. Both, which I know isn't actually that strange when, you know, lots of people, but when you're in a military family, quite often, you know, I suppose nowadays as well, when people go away to work and stuff, not often in a military kind of environment, especially, where two people, because you meet people around. So, but yeah, we came from the same
so
town.
We met when we were teenagers, young teenagers.
We knew each other. Our families knew each other, didn't they? So, and
then
we kind of
basically, I went off and joined the Air Force when I was 20.
I went to school with your sisters as well.
Yeah, so. Sorry, and then you left and went to Portsmouth for a bit, didn't you?
And various other places, Isle of Wight, Southampton, any of those places.
And I moved around a bit, and then we ended up bumping into each other again back in Cornwall, because I was stationed at St Morgan in Newquay. So we bumped into each other again, didn't we?
10 years later.
Then decided to start a family. And little did we know later on we'd have a big family, eh?
Yep.
Okay, fun fact number 5. So we want to talk about Lossiemouth. So we now live in Lossiemouth. I know we brushed on it before, but it's important to us to talk about this fact, because we absolutely love the place. And that says a lot from us, because we're both originally from Cornwall, which is probably one of the most beautiful places in Britain.
So now we're kind of the total opposite end of the country.
Total.
I think as well, when people say, oh, we live in Scotland, people kind of, to most people, Scotland is like Glasgow,
Edinburgh, Glasgow.
We're kind of another 4 hours on top of that, aren't we?
Yep.
So we're right up the top, kind of in between Aberdeen and Inverness. So not quite right up the top, because there is further, but we are up the top, aren't we?
But I mean, in comparison to Cornwall, I think Lossiemouth matches it and some.
It's just a bit colder and a bit windier.
Yeah, it's a little bit more dreich, I suppose, is the Scottish word.
So it's like Cornwall without all the tourists.
Yeah,
you know.
And you've also got the Cairngorms right on your doorstep, and Loch Ness, and Aberdeen that way, and Inverness that way, and all the.
Well, it's the children's home. I mean, we moved here when Toby was 5 months old. So, you know, Elizabeth would have been 7, possibly 7 or 8 when we moved here. So it's only really the older 2, maybe 4. Charlotte and Isabel do remember some of being elsewhere. But, you know, they were just beginning primary school, really. They'd done their first foundation year in primary school in Benson. So they were still really little. They were sort of 5 probably when we moved up here.
Yeah.
Or 5 or 6. They would have been 6, 7 and 8. The older girls, so they don't really remember much of anywhere else. They have the odd memory, but this is everyone's home. This is home to them. So
we're not moving. That's it. We're done. We love this place so much. We are staying, and that's that, isn't it?
I do get a little bit homesick from.
Oh, so
homesick as such. I miss.
Well, I still feel Cornish. And when you see programmes on the telly about Newlyn Fish Festival, and you see things like Helston Flora, and you see the Eden Project, and you see all those places that we used to go to a lot in Cornwall.
I miss family, and
St Ives is another one.
My best friend, and miss those.
Obviously miss family and friends, but essentially, Lossiemouth is now our home. Okay, fun fact number 6. So we were on a TV show if you didn't know that already, we were on a show that went out on Channel 5 Star called Me and My 10 Kids. And it was...
2 years ago?
Yeah, no.
2019.
Did it go out? Was it? Oh, I thought... Did it not go out last year?
No, it was 2019.
Oh, was it the year before?
It?
No, it was last year.
Or did we film in 2019?
Yeah, we filmed in 2019 and it went...
Sure?
And it went out in January 2020. I'm sure of it. Because if I check my social media back, I'm pretty sure I put stuff on before lockdown.
Or maybe it was the beginning of the year. Yeah,
it's before lockdown kicked off. I'm sure it was. It was fun, and it was our first introduction to filming on TV. And yeah, it was how many episodes was it? Six. Six episodes, I think.
We went in. We were in 3, weren't we?
Yeah, we were in 3 of the episodes.
3 or 4.
And yeah, it was our first introduction to filming, and it was great fun. And it kind of gave us a more of a boost to do our YouTube and to do our social media and all those kind of things. We've done a few things with BBC Scotland, a couple of little bits for them. They quite often get in touch with me on Twitter and ask if we wouldn't mind doing a couple of pieces. We did a piece for Lockdown for ITV, and
we're hoping.
Who knows what's in the future?
We may have some news.
We may have some news in the very near future, but we are not allowed to say anything.
Just watch this space.
Watch this space. Fun fact number 7. Out of all the things that we do as a family, our most favourite thing to do all together is the beach.
It's our happy place.
It's our happy place. Now, we are so lucky here in Lossiemouth because we have East Beach. Well, not at the moment because the bridge is knackered and they're looking at replacing it. But we also have West Beach, which is our lovely go-to place, isn't it? And it's literally a 5-minute walk from our house. We are so lucky. Honestly, we every time we mention it, we make sure.
Yeah, the thing I love is when I get up first thing in the morning, so it's really early.
Yeah.
And I open the bathroom window to have a shower. You can hear the sea.
You can also.
Not if it's really still, but most of the time you can hear the sea.
As when I go to work in the morning, you can also smell the sea, especially if it's and when it's been stormy, it's even more, isn't it? We're that close. We're that close to the sea.
Because we both grew up in Cornwall. Although we were kind of inland a bit, no, you were never very far away from a beach in Cornwall.
No.
So we spent a lot of time at the beach as kids, didn't we?
Yeah.
And as teenagers,
I used to cycle to the beach after school.
We'd go down to Portreath, and we spent a lot of time at the beach. And I think, growing up with that, we took it for granted totally because we didn't know any different. No. So we didn't know any different. And when we lived inland, so when we lived in Oxfordshire, because the beach has always been the place that you go to when you're happy, when you're sad, when it's cold, when it's hot, when it's raining, when it's windy.
Barbecue.
We always just everything. The beach parties we used to have when we were teenagers in the dunes. That was just everyone goes to the beach, and totally took it for granted. And when we lived inland, I found it really difficult because you felt like claustrophobic, not knowing that it wasn't there, and you couldn't smell the sea and you couldn't see the sea. And I think for me, it's always been the place that I go to if I'm. You always feel better after going to the beach. If you're confused, if you're upset, if you're, all of those things. And suddenly we didn't have it. So it was always, we tried to make up.
We tried to make up for it in Oxfordshire by going to the Thames.
It's not the
but the problem is wherever you go, wherever the popular places are to go to the Thames, they're always rammed, especially on a nice day.
It doesn't have the same feel as the beach.
It's not the same as, being near to the sea.
It's nothing like the sound of the sea. There's nothing like the sand. I'm not great, I know, with sand, but I'm getting better. But there's nothing like being at the beach with the sea, and the kids feel it as well. Now that I wanted them to be able to grow up by the sea, where they did all the things that we did as kids.
It's called free
with
fun.
With their friends. It is free fun, isn't it? Love the beach.
We love the beach. Okay, fun fact number 8. So, I'm going to talk about my career. Okay, it is a fun fact, I promise. So I've been in the Air Force for 25 years. I was in the Air Force before me and Zoe got back together. But you've been a RAF wife for pretty much most of your adult life, haven't you?
Well, my married life.
Your married life, anyway. You've been a RAF wife.
16 years.
In that time, I've worked...
Actually, 17 years.
It's a long time, isn't it? In that time, I've worked at RAF Benson in Oxfordshire. I've worked in Northern Ireland, in Aldergrove, RAF Aldergrove, back to the UK. I've worked at RAF Lyneham, then down to RAF St Morgan. which was my first time on search and rescue, which I have to say is my most favourite time in the Air Force. Absolutely loved it. I spent 6 years down at St Morgan on search and rescue, and then went up to Valley, up to RAF Valley.
Rough days, though, weren't they? It's not like that anymore.
And spent a further days. That's right. I spent a further 2 years on search and rescue. I spent most of my career on helicopters. So Sea Kings, search and rescue, best time of my career. Unfortunately, like everything, it got civilianised. Got rid of all the Sea Kings. Everything now is, all the search and rescue is civvy. I then went from there to RAF Benson, where I worked on Merlin, so another helicopter, which was okay. I did a tour in Afghanistan, and various other tours as well. I've done 2 tours in the Falklands, by the way. We then took a punt on Lossiemouth, and since being in Lossiemouth, I've mainly worked in bays. So I've worked like in the engine bay, the fuel tank bay, and I'm now working in a support role. So I've come off aircraft and I'm working in the kind of support side of it, and that's where I am at the moment. So I've just hit my last 2 years in the Air Force. I'm just starting my resettlement, and all being well, unless everything goes belly up, I'll be leaving in 2 years and we'll be on to pastures new. But the biggest thing for me is being able to buy a house. That's the biggest thing, and hopefully over the next year or so that will happen.
Don't ask me what he does, because I don't know. Don't ask me where he works, because I don't know. I'm not going to go into too much detail. Many different positions. People say, "Oh, where does your husband work?" And I say, "Lossiemouth, RAF Lossiemouth." Yeah, but where? I don't know. Over there somewhere. I don't think I've ever been to your work here. I don't have a need to go to your work. I think, it's different when you're maybe the RAF wife off, but 17 years later, and it's not that I'm not interested, but things aren't like they used to be, and there's lots of issues with family support and stuff like that. It's not the same. But yeah, I don't literally. He's worked in that many different roles and places over the years. At least I used to be able to say, oh, he works on search and rescue, or he works on Merlins. Yep. Now I'm like, I just don't know. I mean, somewhere that I have a certificate for. I don't know.
I have to say, for young people that are joining up now, I mean, I've literally been all over Europe, Norway as well, Norway, US, obviously Afghanistan, the Falklands. You went to
Utah as well, didn't you?
Yeah, in the US, yes, in America. I went to Utah and did all the whole Salt Lake City thing. So I've been all over, Germany, Austria, France, you name it, and it's been a great career. It's difficult when you've got a family, because things clash. And when you've got to go away, that's when it hurts. It's when you've got to go away. But aside from that, no, I've enjoyed my career. So there we go. Okay, fun fact number 9. All of our girls have one middle name, and the boys have 2.
I was going to say, where is that then? Right, so we have, Elizabeth is Elizabeth Rose, Olivia is Olivia Violet after my granny, then there's Charlotte Mary and Isabel Audrey. Family names, and then obviously 4 girls, they all had one middle name. Then we had Noah. Well, I wanted to give Noah 2 middle names, because Jack, after my granddad, who was actually called Richard John, but everybody called him Jack. I don't really know why, but it's just one of those things. A bit like the whole, what did my granny say? If you had toothache, you had to rub a steak on it or something, but then you had to bury the steak in the garden.
I don't know. You go on about dropping spoons and everything, and it means something.
Oh yeah, every time I've been pregnant, my mum starts dropping spoons, so she knows. Anyway,
don't ask me. Some witches of Eastwick thing going on.
So anyway, it's true. She's been right every time.
Do you know, every time a packet of cheese and onion crisps rolls past me, I like cheese and onion crisps.
She's been right every time, and I can't remember what it is about the steak. No, it's not. It's a wart. If you've got a wart, you're supposed to rub a steak on it. Yeah, which I totally get. I understand that bit. But then you've got to bury the steak in the garden, and I could never understand that bit. But anyway, so Noah was the first boy, and I wanted him to have Jack after my granddad, who was called Richard John, and James after Ben, because obviously we didn't know back then that we were going to have more children, and Noah might have been the only boy. So Noah got named Noah Jack James. And then came Evangeline. So she's Evangeline Scarlett. You weren't sure on that name, were you? But it totally suits her.
Yeah,
always
it does.
Dead scene. Evangeline, by the way, is after kind of after Nanny
Nanny
McPhee,
McPhee.
but also after there used to be a program called The House of Elliot years ago, and I used to love it. And one of the sisters was was it Beatrice or Beatrix? Beatrice, I think, and Evangeline.
Beatrix is Harry Potter.
It's Beatrice and Evangeline. I used to love that program. So then there's Evangeline's got it. And then obviously we had Toby, and because Noah had 3 names, I had to give Toby 3 names as well. So Toby is Tobias, Jacob, Benjamin. So Jacob, because I like Jacob, and Benjamin after Ben, obviously. And then obviously there was Leah and Erin, girls again, so they got 1 name. So Leah is Leah Faith, and we kind of had the girls help us with their names, didn't we? Because they were really difficult. I found it really difficult to give them names because they were so tiny, and no big name kind of suited them.
You wanted, because we suggested we wanted to make them short names, didn't we? They just seemed to fit somehow.
They just were so tiny, weren't they? And I loved the name Leah, and I used to go to school with a girl called Leah, and she was lovely, and she was tiny and kind, and it just fitted her. And the girls chose Faith, and then Erin is Erin Eleanor.
Yep.
Which I kind of think we all chose. And then obviously there was Agnes May. Yep. You chose Agnes.
I chose Agnes, and she's such an Agnes.
And somehow she's become double-barreled as well.
Yeah.
She was never actually Agnes May. She's Agnes May, but we actually call her Agnes May.
Agnes from Despicable Me.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where the name came
she does
from.
Have a little teddy
and
as well.
It's quite a Scottish name. So.
And then obviously Joseph, and because the other 2 boys had 3 names, Joseph had to have 3 names as well. So because it's now just become kind of a thing. So he is Joseph William Fraser.
Yeah. And that brings us on to fact number 10. And fact number 10 is the fact that we have 11 children. And why do we have 11 children? And the reason being, Zoe, is because we love children.
We love children.
It's as simple as that. We want to leave that till last because it's the most important thing to us. The most important thing to me and Zoe is the fact that we have a lot of children, and all of the children, because they're all amazing, aren't they? The kids are amazing.
They are amazing, all of them.
And it's just it's what makes us a family. It's what makes me and Zoe.
We wouldn't be us.
We wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be doing what we do if we didn't have 11 children. We wouldn't be doing YouTube.
Our life would just
all the things that we are today. They have made that possible, and they're all they've all turned into such lovely children, and we have so much fun with the old ones now as well. We have a lot of bants, don't we? A lot of banter. There's a lot of Mickey taking. They even really take the Mickey out of me now and Zoe, and it's great fun, isn't it? And the most.
I think having them home as well lately on lockdown, it's been. I'm dreading them going back because I'm just going to miss them. But having them home as well, I think it's brought us all. I mean, we're always close, but I think as kids grow up and they, grow into teenagers, everybody knows that kind of distance gets in there a little bit because you've got to let them kind of move on, and as much as it kills you inside, you've got to let them grow up and move on. And I suppose having this last year kind of in and out of lockdown has kind of given us that extra kind of bonding time, hasn't it, with them? And I think that will fare out of all the things, of being on lockdown and how difficult it's been and, the reasons for it. I think having us all together as a family has been one of the best things. We've been really lucky. I said that to somebody today. We've been really lucky because we've been on lockdown with kind of all of our best friends. Yeah. So you don't get me wrong. Sometimes the homeschooling part of it's been hard, and it's hard watching them, missing their friends and all the stuff like that. But and
sometimes we get under each other's feet as well, don't we? Yeah,
and sometimes I don't think really
that's just family life.
I don't think they fight that much. I mean, we live in a 4-bedroom house. We are on top of each other. The girls all share a room, but I really don't think that we fight. Some families fight all the time, I suppose. But we don't really. I mean, there is the odd sniping every now and again, especially at certain times of the month. But pretty much, it's like living. I mean, I've said to the girls before, haven't I? If we moved out and we got a bigger house, which is hopefully, touch with the plan, who would you share with? They're like, oh, I don't know. And I said to one of them, would you prefer a room on your own, or would you prefer to share with? Oh, I don't want to be on my own.
No.
Because I've always thought, do they like sharing with each other? Would they, if they had the choice, would they have a room on their own? And I said to, I think it was Olivia, I said, would you prefer a room on your own? Because sometimes she can find it difficult being with certain other members. And she was like, no, I don't want to be on my own because I'd be lonely on my own. So, and then you realise that actually sometimes you worry about them being on top of each other, but then you realise that actually they wouldn't want to be apart.
No.
And they might prefer having 2 to a room rather than 4, but I don't think that they've shared a room since the day dot, haven't they, really? So. And
they all have a natter. The 4 older girls all have a natter now past the time we go to bed.
No, we've gone to sleep.
They're still in their chin wagging and gassing.
They?
Yeah, they do.
I think we're just really lucky. They're amazing kids. They're all growing up with different interests, different talents, different. We've never compared them to each other ever. As long as we've always said, as long as they try their best at whatever they do,
that's all we can ask
fine.
For.
That's all we can ask for as parents. Just do the best you can do, be the best you can be, and that's all that anybody can ever ask of you. And they're kind, they're respectful, they're compassionate, they stick up for each other, they stick up for what they believe in, they stick up for their friends.
They're helpful.
They're
fun to be around as well, aren't they?
They are, yeah. And watching like the older ones with the little ones, and the little ones adore the older ones, don't they? They absolutely adore them. And I think that's kind of one of the most special things as well, is watching that relationship that they have. It's
and I think as well, I think we've done all right. You always doubt yourself as parents, but I think we've done okay. I mean, we're now talking with Elizabeth about going to Edinburgh University, which Zoe can't talk about. But so it's getting to that point now where she's now planning her university, which is a bit scary, really. But
I've got a few years yet, so I'm right.
I think we've done all right.
High five.
So there you go. I really hope you've enjoyed that video. It's been fun for us to do as well. Like I said to you at the start of the video, we're going to start doing we're going to start introducing some different styles of video as well amongst the other videos that we do, because we're enjoying YouTube and we want to create some different content and things like that as well. So yeah, like I said, really hope you've enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to our channel. Please hit the bell for notifications. Please leave us a comment and let us know what you think about this video. We'd love to hear your thoughts and any ideas you've got. We've had a couple of ideas that we're working on now. But yeah, any ideas you've got, just drop us a comment and please leave us a like. And we'll see you in the next video. Cheers, guys. Bye.